Like Calzaghe was a mobile figure, wasn't he? Switch hit, a lot of southpaw work from Ward, and Kessler found it difficult to cope with. Froch, in a sense, is a more orthodox fighter, but now we're awaiting the arrival of Mikkel Kessler, and here's Jimmy Lennon Jr. making the first introductions.
He is the former world champion. Please welcome Mikkel Kessler.
Listen to the atmosphere. Some people have said they've equated him almost to as a David Beckham type figure of Danish sport. He is hugely popular, and they have turned out in force. Of course, millions more watching on television and across in the United States, where the Super 6 tournament has really captured public attention, and now they await the arrival of the Viking warrior. Builders coming out of Copenhagen, but nowadays living in Monaco.
I'd say it's a fantastic atmosphere here. You know, a lot of this crowd realise that this is Kessler. Could easily be the last throw of the dice for Kessler. They want to lift him to almost superhuman performance. He's going to need that to beat Froch tonight.
Well, you can't accuse them of failing to hype it up. The flashlights are going, the searchlights are picking out various people in the audience, including some big-name celebs at ringside, including Arthur Abraham, who's keeping a very close watch on this one, and Mikkel Kessler silhouetted there against the entrance with the lights trained on him, the lights coming from behind him, and in just a moment or two he'll make his entry into this MCH arena. He's going to be tense.
Oh, he'll be really tense. He knows that arguably Froch is his toughest opponent to date for quite a considerable time. I think Froch is far dangerous than Andre Ward, because Froch brings a lot more. Froch has got an unbeaten record, and he's world champion. I know that Ward was also unbeaten, but Froch has got the WBC championship belt on the line.
Well, here is Mikkel Kessler, and he says that he's ready to roll back the clock. He is the younger man at 31, but he's had more fights, more hard fights, but he says that he's ready and that this is going to be his night. Followed by his American trainer, Jimmy Montoya. But has he peaked? Are his best days behind him? When this Super 6 tournament was announced, many people suggested that he'd be the favourite to win it. Of course, that defeat in Portland, Oregon against Andre Ward has made it look an altogether different situation. But he's gone back to the drawing board. He says he's sparred better, he's prepared better, and he feels fitter than he has in years.
Well, he would have needed to have, John, and let's get it right. You know, I'm speaking as a former world champion now. You know, the worst kind of opponent, and he's not an opponent by any stretch of the imagination, but the worst kind of fight you can fight is a former world champion that's got nothing to lose. Kessler tonight is saying to himself, you know what, let's just wipe the slate clean. I haven't been a world champion. This is me challenging almost for my first world championship. In his mindset, this is what he'll be saying to himself, which makes him a much more dangerous opponent than it would be had he had already been a world champion.
So here comes Mikkel Kessler making his way up towards ringside. Superb fighter over the years, Danish dad, English mother, gets on very well indeed with Froch on a social basis, but this is all about business, and there'll be no pleasantries exchanged, I don't think, until after the leather stops firing. Mikkel Kessler, is he going to be ready to regain his title, or is this, as Duke suggested, the final throw of the dice? Nervous times as he gets a few final words of advice from the referee tonight, and in a moment we'll go back to our Master of Ceremonies, Jimmy Lennon Jr., for the big ring entrance of the Nottingham hero Froch, who'll have heard the roar of the crowd. He'll be trying to block all that out, but he's fought on foreign turf before. He got that victory against Jermaine Taylor. He knows all about it, and he believes that he can block that out. And when you get in there, Duke, you know as well as anybody, a ring is a ring.
A ring is a ring, you know, and Kessler looks really confident because he's in his backyard. You know, I can't emphasise that point enough. when you're at home fighting in front of... I mean, listen to these people, they're going mad for this guy. He is like a rock star, almost like a god in his backyard, ready to perform.
Well, there he is. He certainly looks impressively relaxed. The chants are reverberating around the auditorium. Kessler, Kessler. The Viking warrior lists one of his hobbies as tattoos, and when he takes his shirt off, you'll see exactly why.
Here is the defending champion, boxing's pride of Nottingham, England, introducing Froch.
No nonsense for Carl, no dancing, no posing, he's straight into the auditorium, it's business time. The familiar strains of the Queen Classic. He arrived late in Denmark by private jet, but the preparations from all accounts have been absolutely spot on. A little bit of a press coverage about the ear infection which he says he's developed, but he always seems to have some little niggle in the run-up to fights, and I don't think you need to worry too much about that. He'll be ready.
Well, you know, Froch has been an outstanding amateur, travelled the world as an amateur. He's used to fighting in foreign countries. You know, look what he did when he went over to Connecticut and boxed Lorraine Taylor, John. We were there that night. That was a phenomenal performance. He's had hard fights before. Jean Pascal was a tremendously hard fight. Tonight's fight is going to follow in that vein. It can't not live up to expectations.
No nonsense entrance from Froch. Pretty much a route march in there to the ring. Got in there quick time. Kessler fixing him with what he wants to be an icy glare. Froch having none of it. Just working himself through and just trying to just fix his mind on what's required. He's been there, seen it, done it, and he says if Kessler wants to make it a war, then he's ready to give it right back. Final introductions in a moment, once again from Jimmy Lennon Jr. The big one is just a minute or two away now. WBC super middleweight title, Carl Froch against Mikkel Kessler.
At this time, we'd like to ask you to rise for the singing of the national anthems of both countries. Here to sing the Danish national anthem, followed by God Save the Queen. Please welcome the popular Danish R&B recording artist, introducing Karen. For the singing of God Save the Queen.
God save our gracious Queen. Long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen. Victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us.
gentlemen, good evening and welcome. Mina damer og herrer, god aften og hjertelig velkommen. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this MCH Herningen, Denmark, for the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Team Sauerland in association with Hennessy Sports, Viasat, and Showtime. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council, the President Jose Sulaiman, Supervisor Bob Logist, along with the Danish Boxing Commission. The chairman is Jesper Jensen. Timekeepers tonight, Knud Redbeck and Ulla Garbo, and our three judges scoring the bout from ringside. From Italy, Guido Cavaletti. From Belgium, Roger Tillman. And also from Belgium, Daniel Vanderveel. Introducing our third man to the ring, our referee in charge, hailing from Canada, Mikkel Griffin. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. It's the Super 6 World Boxing Classic. It's 12 rounds of action scheduled for the WBC Super Middleweight Championship of the World. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Herning, Denmark, it's showtime! Introducing to you first the challenger on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the colors of the Danish flag, white trunks with red trim. Fighting out of Copenhagen, Denmark, he weighed in at 75.8 kilos or 167 pounds. With a record of 42 wins, 2 losses. He has 32 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight in his 11th straight world title appearance, here is the 2-time world champion, boxing's popular pride of Denmark, known as the Viking Warrior, introducing Mikkel Kessler. And his opponent across the ring, the defending world champion on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks and hailing from Nottingham, England. He weighed in at 75.9 kilos or 167.25 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign to the ring with a record of 26 wins, no losses, 20 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight making the third defense of his title, here is the undefeated WBC Super Middleweight Champion of the world, introducing Carl the Cobra Froch. Once again, our referee in charge, now giving instructions, Mikkel Griffin.
Okay, Carl. Gentlemen, clear the ring, please, gentlemen. Clear the ring, please, gentlemen. Just one man. Clear the ring, please. Just one man here. You men both received my instructions. I want a good, clean fight. You must obey my commands. Protect yourselves at all times. I want you to touch gloves now, man. We're going to box at the bell. Good luck to both of you. God bless you.
The Canadian referee, Mikkel Griffin, gives final words of advice to the two fighters. And as they stood face to face, you could see that physically there's very little to choose between them. Both stand around about 6'1". Big lumps for super middleweights, these two lads. And both of them can bang. Who's going to take the early ascendancy? Froch expects Kessler to come off the blocks fast. He expects that Kessler will really gamble on a fast start. Terrific atmosphere. Will Kessler be inspired, or will it be a case of a few early nerves for the Dane?
The noise deafening. It really is, but both boxers just being a little bit cautious. Froch's customary left hand low, uses that left hand almost like a whip to get the jab off.
There's a feeling amongst those who canvass for opinion in the run-up to this fight that if Froch is going to prevail tonight, he has to take away Kessler's jab, at least to some extent, because the Dane's jab has always been a really strong weapon right the way through his career, followed up with that real shunting rod right hand which he likes to throw right down the tube, right down the throat of his opposition.
You know, Kessler taking centre to the ring, trying to take the ascendancy from Froch. Good right hand by Froch, sneak right hand, good jab by Froch. Froch happy at the moment just to stay on the back foot.
Froch has made a nice start here, Duke.
He has made a good start, John. Sorry, Kessler's punch is just a little bit telegraphed there. Slow right hand, slow jab to the body.
I think Froch hated that last fight against Andre Dirrell. Although Dirrell's performance against Arthur Abraham puts it into context, very, very difficult man to look good against. Kessler produces an altogether different set of problems. He's going to be there in front of Froch and trying to match fire with fire.
Well, you know, Kessler for me has got one gear. You know where he's going to be when the bell goes. He's just going to be coming after you. Can't fight on the back foot for my money, and certainly can't fight on the inside. So it's Froch who's forcing this fight at the moment, trying to make it at least a quick pace. It's not a hard pace.
Steely glare from Carl Froch, and you sense by the look on his face that he's pleased with the way things are going so far. He's felt a couple from Kessler, felt a bit of the Dane's power. Nothing's landed on the button, and certainly the bulk of the hurtful punches, as a little bit of a word of admonishment from the referee is delivered, the bulk of the hurtful punches appear to be coming from Froch. Right, left hand dipped low there. There's that right hand over the top from Kessler, and a little shake of the head from Froch, as much as to say, you've got to do better than that, son.
Well, Froch will be happy the way this round's going at the moment. Again, not a hard pace. Hard one to score. Remember, Froch is away from home.
Well, for me, Froch started well. The judges, experienced, Guido Cavalieri, Daniel van der Wiel,
Do you understand me, all right?
and Roger Tillerman. Here's Robert McCracken speaking to Froch.
Listen, the jab's the tick, you've got to take his jab off him, and out jab him, and you'll get the right hand if you move your feet a little bit, okay?
Yeah, I've sent the right hand.
Here's some of the action from the opening round.
And don't wait on him. You lead off, make him miss, and then you bring him onto that right hand, okay? Don't
Froch had some good work in that opening period.
That was an
They're just trying the right hand for size, Froch. I've actually given that round even, John. I mean, I sided with Froch initially, but I've since changed my mind simply because Froch is in this guy's backyard.
Well, I thought Froch did enough to take that one, but you heard the voice of Robert McCracken there saying that was even and they'll probably give it to him. So that's the mentality that they've got there. And while we're talking about the judges, I would slightly hesitantly point out that one of them there is our old friend Roger Tillerman, the man who refereed the notorious Sven Otka Robin Reed fight. So less said about that, the better.
Yes, but that's exactly how I scored that first round, even. Kessler just looking to try and up the pace if he can, trying to double jab the right hands to the body, trying to force Froch on the back foot. Froch has to remember all times he's away from home. If Kessler keeps on steady pressure and the rounds are close, he's going to nick the rounds. Simple as that.
Similar guys, these two. Both have a love of fast cars, of motorbikes. And both of them outside the ring, the most likeable of people. Inside the ring, they can both be pretty nasty specimens. It's what the sport requires. And you heard earlier on Darren Barker saying that both men are genuinely heavy-handed. Kessler getting into range, and you see that fast left lead.
That's a good right hand from Froch. Froch just trying to lead up with that uppercut that he likes to throw, the long looping right uppercut he likes to throw.
More variety in Froch's work. Kessler It's been described a little bit uncharitably as a little bit of a one-trick pony, but if he is a one-trick pony, it's been a pretty successful trick.
Well, again, the only thing I don't like about this fight, where Froch is concerned at the moment, is the fact that he's actually on the back foot. I know he's got a tactic in store, in plan, but right now it's Kessler who's making the ascendancy in this fight, and he's on the front foot.
He's looking for that right hand, Duke.
It's a heavy jab by Kessler.
Stood to be an intriguing contest, this one. It could turn out to be a war as it unfolds.
So I'd just like to see Froch stepping behind that jab. Try and get Kessler on the back foot, stepping behind the jab and put the right hand behind it.
A little bit of reddening to the nose of Froch. That's testimony to the accuracy of that left-hand lead of Kessler.
A little burst from Froch should square this round up.
Robert McCracken, I saw a big interview with him earlier in the week, and he was saying the thing that you've got to recognise about Carl Froch is that as a man he is a great competitor. He will find a way, and he doesn't always get the credit, in his opinion, for being able to do that. But that was a better round for Kessler. No doubting who the crowd think won that one.
Now listen, Mikkel, you just started doing the right things now. You're a little more aggressive, and I know you've got to size on him behind that jab and right hand and shoot hooks. Don't leave.
Jimmy Montoya speaking to Kessler, and you heard that Robert McCracken was underlining exactly what we said, Duke, that you've got to take that jab away from him.
Got to take it away, and also, you know, fortunately for Froch, he's got a guy in his corner that's been there. He's walked the line. He knows what it takes to win a championship, or at least to challenge for a championship. He's just got to emphasise that point to Froch now, not to let these early rounds slip past. He's got to stay in contention, because when we get to about rounds 4 or 5, Kessler starts to question himself how badly he wants victory.
Robert McCracken, one of the best coaches in Britain right now. Not only has he had this career-long association with Carl Froch, he's also looking after our Olympic hopefuls up in Sheffield. Working alongside Richie Woodall up there. Robert McCracken forging a very impressive reputation, and that trainer-fighter relationship can be absolutely vital in the heat of battle.
Absolutely imperative. And I mean, you know, my trainer was like my best friend all the time I was a professional boxer, still is to this day really, Colin Smith. But you know, you establish so much trust in your trainer, and you rely on them to get the best out of you.
Kessler stalking Froch all the time, trying to put him onto the back foot and succeeding in doing so. And every time he lands, the crowd respond. Neat defensive work there from Froch. Decent body shot thrown through the right hand of Kessler, but Froch coming back. Carl Froch's girlfriend, Rachel Cordingley, sitting at ringside. She's giving her encouragement, as ever.
Good right hand from Froch. I'd like to see Froch get off first. I'd like to see him get his punches off first, rather than wait for Kessler to lead before he counters.
Just get the impression that this is a little bit of a phony war, that still to an extent feeling each other out here, although Kessler is being seen, I suspect, by the judges as the one who's dictating the fight, irrespective of whether or not he's landing the more hurtful punches.
Well, Kessler, you know, from his point, it's just he's plodding forward behind just a stiff jab. There's no combinations behind Kessler's work. Froch now trying to take the play away from him, which is much more better. Got to up his work rate, Froch.
Kessler likes to fight like this, though, doesn't he? He likes to fight at range where he can just throw those 1-2s. Left hand lead, right cross. That's basically the staple diet of the Kessler work. Not a terrific in-fighter. Doesn't like to come up against a fighter who employs good lateral movement.
You know, I've studied Kessler these last couple of weeks. Cannot fight on the back foot whatsoever. Can't fight on the inside. He's predominantly a right-hand happy guy. You know, throws the double jab and comes back with the right hand.
This is better from Froch. He's taking away the offensive of Kessler in the closing stages of that round. Rapt attention from the sold-out arena.
Listen to me. You don't want this kid coming forward. What you want to do now is you want to be sharper with the jab and right hand, take him backwards or move to the side when he comes, all right? Listen to me. 1-2 up right hand every time. 1-2 up right hand. When you're inside now, straight underneath. Listen, you have to take his jab off him. Keep doing it, all right?
Take the jab and get him onto the back foot.
Which is exactly the right tactics. You can't allow Kessler to get into a rhythm. You've got to take him out of his rhythm. Froch just content just to parry and cover there while Kessler was on the attack. But Froch has to push Kessler on the back foot, and Kessler will shut up shop because he can't fight on the back foot. And if Froch gets in there, that's when he can look more dominant. See, Kessler always starts most of these rounds with a big body shot. Always throws the right hand to the body.
Close fight so far. All depends how the three judges, two Belgians and Italian, depends how they read it. And again the chants go up. Kessler, Kessler. Not too many fans have been able to make it across from Nottingham for obvious reasons of transport difficulties.
It's better work by Kessler at the moment. You know, he's jabbing to the body, throwing the right hand to the body also, because he's not getting the clean target on Froch's head. So, you know, again, the judges are seeing this. He's plodding forward, he's not bouncing forward, he's walking Froch down.
Froch is just finding this a little bit tough right now. Not quite worked Kessler out. It's better. Lovely jab from Froch. Beautiful fast hands.
Well, Froch does have a good jab, but for me it works better when his hands are up.
It's the way he's always fought though, Duke. Not going to change it now, I suspect. He said he was working harder on his defence and he was trying to keep it tighter in this fight. Well, we'll see. Oh,
There's the
good
right hand.
shot.
Good shot.
Good right hand.
It's about time, Mr. Froch. It's a good shot, but Kessler took the shot really well.
Starting to heat up in there now.
It's starting to get good in there, John. But this is what Froch is all about. The guy's all heart.
Big left hand from Kessler, but Froch came right back with power.
Nice uppercut from Froch, right hand over the top from Froch. Both boxers been stopped in their tracks in this round.
Hardest round of the fight so far. Both men teeing off with big shots. You sense with Froch that gladiatorial instinct is roused when he starts to get tagged.
The only thing that worries me about Froch is that he's totally defenceless. Not thinking about defence at all, just throws punches. When he's ready to go, he just throws his punches, leaves himself wide open.
It's been a good round for Kessler. Froch has landed big punches as well. But the thing is that every time the Dane lands a big shot, you get that roar of appreciation. See what Robert McCracken makes of that.
Put your legs out. Ice bag on his head. Listen, put your legs out. Deep breath. Listen.
just like last minute.
Don't hold your feet. Start footing out. Don't hold your feet. You listen. Don't hold your feet because you'll punch down the middle, okay? We've got to be busier with the jab and the right hand and the movement now, okay? Do you understand me? Jab, right hand, left up movement, all right? Have a drink. If you hold your feet, he'll just punch and he'll hit you back. You've got to be busier with him. Listen, you ain't got to force it. This kid's on for the jab and the right hand all day long. You've just got to do it naturally, and you short hook and then go downstairs.
Got to get the right hand in there.
You will do if you keep working the jab.
Got to get your right hand in there, says Carl Froch. That was one good right hand that he threw.
Landed a fantastic shot, but didn't capitalise on it. And what McCracken is actually saying is good advice. Jab, cross, hook. Kessler's a sitting duck for that left hook.
Was he just outworked a little bit in that round, though?
I'm giving that round to Kessler.
Me too. Close one. Froch had his moments. But Kessler, more often than not, the man on the front foot. And we know, having watched fights for so many years, of course, and you've been in the ring for so many years, that is often what captures the judge's eye. That's better from Froch. Trying to up his work rate. Good left hand.
Yeah, Froch gambling a little bit now. A little bit better. Almost went southpaw on the inside there. Trying to take the play away from Kessler. But Kessler's a big, strong man. We've only seen Kessler dominated by Calzaghe. Nobody dominates him other than that.
I'll bet a few quid that Joe will be watching somewhere tonight, taking an eye on this, and watching his old adversary Mikkel Kessler against the man who's constantly goaded him and tried to get him into the ring, Carl Froch. Froch will, I suspect, think that he takes a little bit away from Calzaghe's legacy if he prevails, and if Kessler wins, Calzaghe will maybe say, there you are, told you so.
Well, Kessler gambling now with his right hand. He switched his attack from body to the head. Just trying Froch out for sides with the right hand.
Oh, he's got him!
He's not going to call it a no. He's going to call it a no, not a knockdown.
It's a slip.
Yeah.
Through the right hand. He's got tagged in this time.
That's a good response from Froch.
Froch thinks that a punch did get through, and there's a little smile there as Kessler tags him with a big right hand. This has started to become X-rated entertainment.
Well, we always knew this one was going to catch light sooner or later. Froch promised us a war.
Well, I apologise if I misread you in the exuberance of expecting, or hoping maybe, that Froch had found that big right hand. Be interesting to see a replay of that to see if contact was actually made. What a good round.
It's a good round for Froch. Much better round. I think he needed it for confidence, if nothing else.
Had him behind before this. This has been a much better round for Froch. Oh, good shot. That's quality.
Much better from Froch. The jab, the right hand works an absolute treat.
And he's got Kessler onto the back foot. Kessler threw a wild right hand, and look at the body language of Froch. He really fancies this now.
Well, I tell you, Froch could, if he could knock Kessler out or even force a stoppage.
What a terrific 3 minutes of boxing that was. Much, much better from Froch.
Listen, you're hurting him, you're breaking him down now. Don't blow it down.
Listen, give me the one.
Right hand found its way through. The big punch of Froch.
Listen, you're not listening to me, Mikkel. You're doing your own little thing. Take it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. I won't do what I tell you. Can you hear me? You're staying in the middle. You're backing up.
Got a bit of bleeding from the nose of Kessler. Well, there was the stumble. Froch was throwing punches, but there was no real contact made.
I already did.
So I apologise for that one.
Anyway, I want you to book him.
But that right hand did land, John.
You're too tight.
And that fight, that punch for me, won Froch that round.
I gave Froch that last 3 minutes. 5 rounds completed. They said this one could be a cracker. Remember, Kessler was quoted by the bookies as the 6-4 on favourite for this. Interesting to know what they're saying now. Good right hand from Kessler. Instant response from the crowd and the shake of the head from Froch.
The Froch has to answer him, it's as simple as that. Can't allow Kessler to get any kind of ascendancy in this fight. But it's Kessler who's gambling just ever so slightly and keeping Froch on the back foot again.
I sense it's a key phase of the fight, nearing the halfway stage. Remember, against Calzaghe, Kessler started really well, but Calzaghe was able to pull away in the second half of the fight.
Kessler doing okay in the beginning of this round, really making Froch have to think.
Well, he's come back well, hasn't he?
He certainly has.
Sure, the support must be worth a point or so for Mikkel Kessler as he loads up the left hand.
Oh, and catching Froch. Froch has got to get his hands up. Swinging just a little bit wide now, Froch. Looking a little bit more disorientated.
It's better.
Needs more of that. I would just love to see Froch get his hands up. For me, it's far more effective when he just props his hands up like he's got now and pumps the shots through from there. We need that right uppercut from Froch.
Well, he's forced onto the back foot here and Kessler's trying to unload.
It's a good round for Kessler.
Tell you what, Duke, you watch a Carl Froch fight, you don't get undersold too often, do you?
Never. This guy really puts it on the line. You know when Froch is fighting, you're going to get value for money.
Kessler's put a lot into this round.
Good
He's
right
gambled.
hand. Really good right hand. Sorry, John, to cut you short. Fantastic right hand there from Kessler.
He's thrown a lot into this one. If Froch can withstand this and throw something back in this last 20 seconds, I wonder if there might be a little bit of psychological damage done to Kessler. And Froch is doing precisely that. Looking for the big right hand. Kessler's outworked Froch for much of this period. Good round for the Dane. Where's your scorecard here, Duke?
You weren't hurt for this goddamn thing. Is he waiting for him?
Got Kessler one round up.
I'm telling you now, every time you catch this... But you're
I got Kessler one round up. That last round, Kessler me just nicked it.
Don't let him bullshit you with it. You know, you do what you want to do. Just keep your hands out. You're dropping your hands. Rubbish on it. Let him go with your hooks and uppercuts. Okay? You listening?
Right.
Look, listen to me. Don't let him con you out of this, okay? You've got to be sharp with a jab and right hand, but you've
Don't
got
let
to
him con you
out
out of it.
And as soon as you make him
conning about that right hand, does it?
It's a good job Froch is granite chin because he took that shot really flush.
Carl, you've got to keep a high
Kessler gambling now. Kessler knows he's got to keep himself in front if possible for confidence because he knows Froch is really going to come back at him.
I think I've heard Robert McCracken so animated in a corner for some time. I think that probably reflects the danger in there and the sense that Froch really has to be on his game tonight if he's going to prevail against Kessler, who has shown already that he's really hyped up for this one. This isn't the Kessler who fought Andre Ward. He's an altogether more dangerous, charged up, psyched up fighter than he was on that night.
Well, and also, John, let's get it right. You know, styles make fights. These two styles complement one another more so than Ward against Kessler. Froch really has to use that jab. Start putting something behind that jab. He's got to start kidding for Kessler. He's got to start drawing his punches in. Make him miss, make him pay. Every time Kessler throws the jab, take a little half step back, come back with his right hand. But it's Kessler putting the combinations together.
Carl Froch has gone 12 rounds on 4 occasions. I wonder if this one might well go the distance as well. Kessler forcing the Nottingham man back. I'm sure there'll be a big audience around the Midlands area in particular tonight. Carl Froch, huge news up there in Nottingham, very popular figure.
Listen, even if you wasn't a Carl Froch fan, if you saw the Taylor fight, if you saw the Pascal fight, you know this guy can fight. And this fight equally is as grueling in its own way. Kessler again though, pumping that right hand to the body. He's landed with that in good succession. Nice jabs from Kessler. That's something you don't normally see from him. Triple jabs.
Froch's much vaunted strength and conditioning is going to be called into question here. He's going to need it, and he's going to need that warrior instinct. Froch getting a little bit of a word of admonishment, ticking off.
Okay, let's go.
Well, a penny for the thoughts of Carl Froch at this stage as Kessler comes in again with big headshots, one around the back of the head. Froch protects to the referee who does nothing about it.
Well, but Froch is a little bit disorientated.
Not surprised when he clubbed around the back of the head like that. Well, the crowd's going mad for Mikkel Kessler. They sense that he could be regaining a world title here tonight. And the referee, I think, allowed him to get away with one there, Duke.
I'm almost certain. I mean, you know,
I don't want you in the middle.
he pressured Kessler. Had Froch just a bit disorientated.
All right, baby.
Now what Froch has to do is to regroup. He's got to start this fight as though it was the first round all over again. He knew that Kessler was going to do this. He gambled on Kessler making a hard, fast start. And Froch said he was going to take him into deep water and make him question just how badly he wanted this victory. We're going to find out.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not impossible here if you're looking at this from a Danish point of view. It's by no means impossible. There's that right hand around the back of the head, which he really should have been pulled up for by the refs. That is not in the rules.
But it was unintentional.
Unintentional, but it was there. If you're looking at it from a Danish point of view, Duke, could be a 3-round advantage here for Kessler.
Quite possibly. You know, I know I've emphasised the point of hometown advantage, or at least, you know, having the judges in your backyard. It makes a massive difference when you're talking about world championships and boxers of this kind of a calibre.
5 rounds left for Carl Froch to pull this one out of the fire.
I'd like to see Froch use that jab not as a range finder, but as a hurtful jab.
Good right hand counter from Kessler. That's the danger punch, that straight right hand. As Froch threw the looping right, the left hand was low, and that right hand thudded onto the chin of the champion.
But even if Kessler throws a punch and misses, the crowd still erupt, they still go crazy, you know, which could influence the judges quite easily.
Well, Daniel van der Wiel, one of the Belgian judges, is a wise old owl. He's been around the circuit for years. Guido Cavalleri's been around for a long time as well. Roger Tillerman, he's been around, but he's had his moments. Ask Robin Reed for that fight against Spanotke. Give you half an hour on that one.
Oh, well, you know, we've seen some bad decisions before, John, but you know, the way these fights going at the moment, this won't be a bad decision, whichever way it goes.
But Froch needs to do more.
Well, Froch has to find a way, quite simply, to keep Kessler on the back foot. Hasn't managed to take away his jab all night long. It's been a very solid, workman-like performance from...
Good right hand from Kessler.
Well, he
And
was
that
much
stunned
off balance a
Froch.
little bit, John, as well. He got caught square on. He got caught absolutely square on, Froch, but that's going to be enough to tip the balance in Kessler's favour for this round.
But what a chin Froch has got. It landed absolutely flush, that.
Yeah, caught him flush, John. The pressure's on. Froch has got to tuck up. He's got to tuck up.
Well, this is danger time now for Karl Froch. This is a big round for Mikkel Kessler.
John, I think he might be cut. I think Froch might be cut over the left eye.
Another right hand thudded home from Kessler. Now we'll look closely between the rounds. Certainly reddening around the nose. Maybe no more than a graze. We'll look closer between the rounds. But Froch, as you said earlier, looking a little bit disorganised now. And that's a big round for Mikkel Kessler. Mark on your nose.
Thank God.
Have a spit. Have a spit. Yeah, swallow that.
But for me, Kessler's best round of the whole fight.
Listen to me. You lunged in and he just hit you with the right hand. Deep breath, okay? Carl, listen. You can block and slip what he throws if you concentrate on it. But what you're doing is you're lunging in now with threes and the odd 2 or 3, and then he's carrying you.
Actually, watch it again there, G.
He
was off balance. It didn't land.
He got caught square on. He's absolutely square on. He wasn't hurt. He just caught square on. But it looks like his legs went, John. To the crowd and to the judges, it looks like his legs were wobbling.
I bow to a professional's input there, G, because at first sight it looked as though he'd been stunned, but it was thought that he was off balance and that he'd lunged in.
He got caught square on. You know, I mean, Froch was no more hurt in that round as he was in the previous round. Just got caught square on. Needs a big round now, Froch.
Well, as I said before, if you're looking at it from a Danish perspective, Froch could have a mountain here, and it might be that he needs to win the last 4. Hopefully, from a British perspective, that's not the way the judges are seeing it. Let's hope some of that earlier quality work from Froch has won him his share of the rounds. But you just get the sense in Denmark, with this fervent home support for Kessler, that the odds could be stacked against Froch. You can see the cut across the bridge of his nose, but that's not going to affect him.
Kessler fighting with real urgency now. He knows he's just had a good run, and you'd be surprised what that will do for your confidence. He's really going for it, is Kessler in this round. His confidence is absolutely soared through the roof.
Good body shots.
It was a good body shot, John. You heard that thud into the ribs of Froch.
Froch looking for that right hand, and just having a tendency, as Robert McCracken was saying, as he throws it, to lunge with it. This has been a good performance from Kessler. That's better from Froch. People wondered whether Mikkel Kessler was finished.
Well, there's your answer. Quite clearly not. Keeps planting that right hand to the body of Froch, Kessler. It's been a good tool thus far in this fight. Hasn't missed with it.
It's mobility and variety which troubles Kessler. And as you've said earlier, as Froch just blinks a little as the heads came in close. As you said earlier as well, he struggles when he's on the back foot, and Froch just hasn't been able to do that enough, I don't think. Still time though.
Well, Froch has to show what a champion's heart that he has. And he has to also show what another level that he has.
That's better. Good work from Froch. There is also the point that Froch is the champion. It's the old adage, isn't it, that you've got to really win big to take a champion's title away from him.
Well, Kessler giving him a good argument up till now.
It's sweeping left hand from Froch, landed pretty flush, and now Kessler just a little bit disorganised. Froch was really trying to load up Duke.
Really looks tired.
Yeah, looks a bit ragged as he makes his way back to the corner.
Be smart now. Listen, he'll try and box with you for a minute now. You've got to be smart, but you've got to apply the pressure. 1-2 hooks, double jab right hands, and then short when you're there. Deep breaths, okay? Yeah, really bad, but you've got to work this kid now. I know, but Carl, taking him up, mate, you've got to work.
Oh, a cut around the left eye of Kessler. He was cut before, over and under both eyes against Andre Ward, and it's in the same sort of area. It's on the eyelid.
Do not let him con you. Concentrate on the jab and right hand, and let's put them together. Put your head back.
3 rounds, will that be a factor? He was stopped in the 11th by Ward.
Move the feet and go again.
It was on cuts. Could it be a factor once again?
We need a big round. You with me?
I think it's a bad cut on Kessler's eye.
Did he do enough?
I gave that last round even. I want to give it to Froch, but I think it's even.
Well,
it's a bad cut that Kessler's got, though.
If he took it, it's narrowed the gap. And Kessler's cut. They've done a good job patching up the nose of Carl Froch. But Kessler, I think it's the left eye, isn't it, which has gone, and it looks as though it's gone badly. And Froch will try and target that.
Well, that'll give Froch confidence. The fact that he's got blood coming from Kessler's eye, has to target that punch. Got to go right hand happy. Keep banging him in that cut. Keep punching him on that eye. Make him question himself. Make him question his heart.
I think that Kessler's stamina is coming into question a little bit at this stage.
He's worked tremendously hard, John.
He's worked immensely hard, and he's tight at the weight. He always is. He's a big man. Froch has a low sort of body fat, and he never puts on more than 4 or 5 pounds between fights. Kessler's a different story, and that left eye's a mess. Froch might still be able to pull this out of the bag. That right hand there exploded on the left eye.
Yeah, this round's more of a trade-off. Froch can see that blood and really wants to start putting it on Kessler now. He said he would.
Is this going to be another one which Froch is able to seize back a victory from the very jaws of a possible defeat? Had a good first 2 minutes of this round. Another good shot from Froch.
Good shot from Froch. That's better from Froch. Showing a true champion's heart.
This is his best round for some time.
Just got to keep him on the back foot now. Keep Kessler stepping off.
Kessler looking a little bit wild. And Froch employing greater accuracy. And he's targeting ruthlessly that left eye, that damage.
Yeah, the cut's definitely troubling Kessler. Not fighting with the same authoritativeness we've seen in the previous rounds. It's a good round for Froch.
Well, my card, if Froch can dominate these last 3 rounds, he could still pull it out of the bag. Big effort from Kessler. But surely not enough. Heads were going in.
Too little too late for no money in this round for Kessler. Froch's round, almost certainly.
It turned into a little bit of a barroom brawl in the last 30 seconds. Kessler's left eye is a mess.
Put water on him before, not on his head though.
So you've still got Kessler ahead, Duke.
Just in front, John. But
Froch for me has won the last 2 rounds.
Sorry, John, yeah. But a much better round for Froch that last round. I think now Froch will show him now
and you're letting him off.
what it's all about, because he said he knew what Kessler was going to do in this fight. He knew it was going to become a war of attrition.
Yeah, Carl. Come on, he's there for the taking, mate. Don't let this fella con you.
It's all over the place.
Deep breath, deep breath.
It's a terrible cut that
Listen,
Kessler's
don't
got.
take a chance, relax. Listen.
And he's being told that he is there for the taking. And I feel forced to agree at this stage that despite the rapturous acclaim of the crowd, that the pendulum appears to have swung in Carl Froch's favour. If he can maintain the initiative that he established in the last round, he can pull this one out of the fire. Quite opening from Froch. Just allowing Kessler to regain the initiative.
He can't let him do that, John. The fight's much too close. He can't allow Kessler these little combinations, pity-pat combinations. That's enough to nick the rounds in the judges' eyes.
Looking for that left eye all the time, Froch, covering up well with the defence to parry that attack from Kessler, and now coming back, trying to return the power and the accuracy with interest, trying to find venom in his punches. Good right hand from Kessler, but back came Froch, solid right of his own.
Yeah, that was punch for punch. That was probably the punch of the round so far for me from Froch. Froch trying to tee up now with his own right hand. Knows he got through with it, looking for it yet again. But Kessler comes straight back at him.
Well,
this is getting even better.
They call him the Viking Warrior, and that is real warrior fighting. Terrific toe-to-toe action here in the 11th round.
Yeah, John, oh, trading off, John, what a shot! The right hand Froch's chin is made of granite. Took that as flush as you like, good shot. I think that went round the back of the head.
I think it caught Froch on the neck, that right hand. Perhaps just as well. Now back comes Froch, good headshots, what a round again.
This is a fantastic round. Kessler's been here before, Froch has been here before. Froch has to win this round and he needs just one more big shot to pull it round.
The talk in boxing about crossroad fights, maybe for Carl Froch a crossroad fight, a little bit more for Mikkel Kessler. Where does he go from here if he loses in front of his own public? It's Carl Froch's done enough. He looks as though he's winning this round again for me.
Both boxers really tired now, really tired, both open mouth, both just slugging away. Froch is doing great in this round, just closing the show.
Well, I think Froch senses that he's got his man here, but is he running out of rounds? He's got one remaining. Got to be getting close on the cards. Froch has come on strong in the last 3 rounds. Really has.
Mikkel, you want this fucking title? Yeah. Go get the son of a bitch. You have to get it. You know what? I don't want you walking back and you doing it. Don't do that. Give it some side movement, okay?
Walking back.
You're
a little bit of industrial language in the Kessler corner, and no surprise there because
you're waiting for him.
He's really been under the cosh for the last 9 minutes.
Vaseline.
Froch was told he's there for the taking, and there was an arrogance about Froch in that last round. An arrogance in a nice way, I suppose, in that he was measuring his shots, he was picking his man off as he came in, and all the hurtful, damaging, point-scoring shots, for me anyway, were coming from the champion. There's Rachel Cordingley, his girlfriend, looking well, tense as well she might at ringside. Which way's this one going? 3 minutes now might be the 3 minutes which decide the course of the fight. The atmosphere is absolutely electric. These two guys promised a great fight. They've delivered it. Who's now going to get across the line first? 3 memorable minutes, I'm sure, are now coming up.
I think this fight, for me, for Froch, has been his hardest fight to date, John. It's been a war of attrition. They've really had to put it on the line. Suck it up from every quarter of their body to summon up strength to throw the punches the way they have for 12 rounds.
Physically well matched. and in a sense they're similar characters. Both of them fiercely proud warrior fighters, and they've produced a terrific contest.
Froch really digging in now, trying to keep Kessler on the back foot, which is the right thing to do, particularly at this stage of the fight, and the fight is so close. Can't allow Kessler to get with any kind of success.
All right, let's go, box.
But the crowd are absolutely frenetic in there, John. I can hardly hear myself speak.
Now an eye-catching flurry in the last 90 seconds of the round. Who's going to have it?
Kessler's gambling and putting it all in, John. Froch has got to come straight back at him.
Well, Kessler was told in no uncertain terms that he was making a bit of a mess of it. And Froch is now getting the better of it.
He's getting the better in this round so far. But back comes Kessler. Oh! Right hand, left hook, right. Oh my goodness.
Who would be a judge? What a terrific last 3 minutes. Look at this.
This is incredible,
courage.
John.
Naked courage from Kessler.
Sorry, this is... John, I'm off my seat. This is incredible. Kessler's got nothing left, but he's still throwing, and Froch has got nothing left, and he's still throwing. Froch is cut now.
Doesn't matter though. Only 30 seconds remaining.
Right. Okay.
This is X-rated, John.
Step back,
This is as brutal as you like in any fight, I promise you. Kessler got nothing left, Froch got nothing left. A clean shot from either of them, they're going down.
This is a Rocky-style round for real. Brought to you from Denmark. Terrific fight, Carl Froch and Mikkel Kessler. It's one to live in the memory. Who will be the man to prevail? You can see from the way they're going for it that they don't know. Both of them just desperate to do it. Froch wanting to retain the title. The last bell has gone. You could hardly hear it. Kessler thinks he's done it. He's congratulated by his promoter, Wilfred Sauerland. Robert McCracken hugs Carl Froch. Now we wait to see, is it going to be the WBC title going back to Mikkel Kessler, or has Carl Froch hung on? Great last round, and the last round might have determined it. Have you scored it, Duke?
1 round to Kessler. I've given it 1 round to Kessler. That last round for me swung the fight his way. I want to be wrong, obviously, but I feel that Kessler, for me, just picked that round in a real... Listen, that'll probably be fight of the year. You're not going to see a better fight than that, John.
It was an epic contest.
Froch just said to Robert McCracken, have I won it? He doesn't even feel he's really won it. It was a tough fight.
I thought he came on strong, rounds 9, 10, 11, Froch. But that 12th round, terrific display of bravery and commitment from Kessler.
Well, John,
it might be that last 3 minutes was the key.
John, I promise you, Kessler boxed like a man that was on, pardon my terminology, he was on death row. That was his final throw of the dice. He fought like a man possessed in that last round. He was cut, he was hurt, but he didn't take a backward step and still managed to take the fight somehow to Froch.
Just look at this, look at this. This is, it loses something almost in slow motion, but these two guys were just going for it toe to toe and throwing everything, trying to load up with as much as they still possessed in their bodies. It was, as we said, X-rated action, a rocky fight for real in those last 3 minutes. And Kessler, well, if he's not won this one, you just take your hat off to him for the sheer determination. That was where the bell went, and those two guys are going to remember each other for the rest of their lives.
They'll be friends away from boxing for the rest of their lives.
What a terrific fight. She doesn't know. He's looked happy, but he doesn't know. He's being told that win or lose, you produce an unbelievable fight.
Listen, in any language you speak, that was a memorable fight. Both boxers put it on the line. Started off a little bit cagey, caught the light around round 6 for me, really. That was quite a telling round. But that last round, you know, how can they have that kind of strength, that kind of will, determination in a 12-round fight?
You fighting boys are a different breed, and that's what attracts fans, commentators, those who watch it, those who pay the money. That's what attracts us to the sport, because you watch something like that, you live your lives vicariously to a degree, and all you can do is just admire the sheer bravery of these men.
Well, you can't help but admire these guys, but I'll tell you something, fights like that will end your career. I promise you. Those guys will never have another fight like this as long as they live. Not going to happen. It makes for a short career, and the winner of this has got Arthur Abrahams straight after that.
It's a nice little bonus, isn't it? Got Arthur coming over the horizon. Don't look now, here he comes.
Oh, what a fight.
Well, I think you probably heard that at home. I won't repeat it, but it makes you smile, and they know just how hard that was.
It's a nasty cut. Look at that cut, John.
I think it was punches that did it. I don't think it was head clashes.
Yeah, I don't think it was a head clash. But, you know, credit to Froch, credit to Kessler for putting on such a memorable fight.
It was a terrific fight. Kessler, the chant goes up from the Danish fans who've packed this auditorium. It's a long wait while the scorecards are tallied up, which makes you suggest that this is close. So there's no problems there. Remember that Michael Brody fight a few years back, WBC title fight, where there were problems with the scorecard, which you thought it was one result, then it was another, and they'll want to make sure in front of a huge worldwide audience here that this is absolutely spot on and that no mistakes are made before Jimmy Lennon Jr. announces the results, which is imminent. He's not got too many supporters here in Denmark, but he's got a fair number who are watching, and Carl Froch has done himself proud here tonight, win or lose. Kessler camp think they've taken it. They think it's gone their way.
You know, I'm going to keep emphasising that point. Froch has been in Kessler's backyard. Kessler pretty much was the aggressor throughout the whole of the fight. Sure, Froch had his moments, but didn't keep Kessler on the back foot enough for my liking.
I think that last round just might have been the decider.
Swung it his way.
Now, here we go. Heart in the mouth time. Who's got it? Mikkel Kessler or Carl Froch?
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Roger Tillman, scores the bout 117 to 111. Judge Guido Cavalieri scores the bout 115 to 113. Judge Daniel Vanderveel sees the bout 116 to 112. All three in favor of the winner and the new WBC Super Middleweight Champion of the world, the Viking Warrior, Mikkel Kessler.
It's celebration time for the Danes. Heartbreak for Carl Froch. The Italian judge Cavalieri 115, 113 tallied with my scorecard. Roger Tillman 117, 111. I thought that was too wide. Daniel Vanderveel 116, 112. Mikkel Kessler, the new WBC world champion. But no shame in that, no shame whatsoever for Carl Froch. That was one terrific performance, and Mikkel Kessler has turned back the years, he's dug deep, and he's saved his career.
And how? I mean, he said that he promised Froch